everybody, welcome back to another episode of Getting Real with Real Estate. I'm Jason Potter.
And I'm Jennifer Nicely. We're very excited about today's guest and cannot wait to interview him.
Yeah, we're talking mortgages today. Yes. It's something that you guys continue to write in, and everybody wants to know where mortgage rates are going. I don't know if anybody will ever know exactly where they'll go. But, in today's real estate market, how it's so competitive, I've got a lot of questions for Ed.
Yeah, the market's changing a lot. You know, the last episode we talked about how the market is kind of crazy right now and people are receiving multiple offers, and it's very difficult to get a loan and compete with cash bids that you're going up against.
Yep, one of the questions I have, and I know many viewers will have, is when do you really start the process of getting pre-qualified? Getting pre-approved. What does it entail? What's the difference if you're self-employed or if you're a W-2 employee? So we're going to cover a lot. We've got a lot to talk about this afternoon. I'm really excited.
I'm excited too. Can't wait to see Ed's version of what he believes we should do and where the market's going on his end when it comes to loans.
Yeah. Well, he's got to be doing something right. He's got one of the most successful mortgage lending teams here in the Grand Strand.
He does.
So there's a lot of wisdom and knowledge there, and that's what we're doing here on Getting Real with Real Estate. We're bringing the best professionals in front of you, asking some hard questions, trying to get some predictions for the future market if anybody's willing to do so. But therefore you benefit and hopefully are able to apply it in your own real estate endeavors.
That's right.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Coming up next, we're going to have Ed with us from Movement Mortgage.
All new episodes airing every month on WMBF.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Getting Real with Real Estate. As you know, it's a real estate television show, and we promise to bring you the latest and greatest information with the real estate market and trends, not just locally, but also nationally. We try to bring the best experts in the area, and today we are very lucky to have Ed with us. Ed, thank you so much for being with us and our viewers today.
Hey everyone, my name's Ed Bocchino, branch leader with Movement Mortgage here in Myrtle Beach. Thank you so much, Jason. Really appreciate the opportunity. Excited to be here today and chat a little bit about real estate and mortgage lending and see what value we can bring to the viewers.
Well, Ed, everybody knows that most people get purchase mortgages and they go and qualify, get pre-approved. But I think that people would really be interested if they found out how dialed in the mortgage industry and the lending industry is tied into real estate and how it directly affects market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The mortgage industry definitely sets direction for housing industry.
Yes.
Right, to some level.
Yeah.
If everyone had paid cash for the home that they were looking to buy, we would be obsolete, and who knows what would be going on with the housing industry. But where credit guidelines are, in requirements for income, credit scoring, assets, etc., the ability for a potential home buyer to borrow drives the demand in housing.
Yes.
In today's world, it's about as I think it's right where it needs to be. Quite frankly.
Yeah.
You want the due diligence to be in place. You want people that can actually qualify. We don't want a return of what happened.
No, nobody wants that.
Back in 2010. So there's definitely a correlation between the two.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's something that I really like to point out to people. Getting a purchase mortgage, it shouldn't be hard, but the standards to qualify should be strict. And after you get done with qualifying and borrowing money and you close on that house, you should feel like you were fully vetted to a degree. And although sometimes that can feel exhausting a little bit, it's good because we're purchasing homes. That's your investment, that's your money, and the qualifications of which people are lending money on, in essence, protects their investment.
Well, and protects them and their future, quite frankly, because it's interesting, and all the folks that we talk to when looking to get pre-qualified for a mortgage, they're not in our world. They don't do what we do every single day, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in mortgage lending. It may be their first home that they're looking to buy, and there's a lot of education that needs to occur with that. And they may think they're comfortable at one point, right? As far as budget goes, et cetera.
Right.
And after we go through everything with them, they come back and realize, well, maybe I'm better off at this budget.
Right.
So though the guidelines may allow for them to borrow up to X amount of money, it may not be in their best interest based on their lifestyle or their habits or trends or things that they do for them to go to that level. And that's sort of what myself and my team work with them to make sure, most importantly, they're comfortable with where they're at, whether they can borrow more or not.
I'm glad you pointed that out as well, right? Your team has grown tremendously here over the Grand Strand. I know that recently, over the past couple of years, you came back to the Myrtle Beach area and have really grown organically by providing great service to purchasers looking to purchase homes in Horry and Georgetown County. Just because you're qualified for an amount doesn't mean that you're comfortable spending that in your budget, and a good mortgage professional helps work them into that and shows them exactly what that's going to cost them, and possibly make some suggestions, not just to the amount, but also the type of loan that they are able to qualify for. Do you want to touch on that a little bit as well?
Yeah, sure. So as most people may know, right, there's a few different types of products that are available, whether it's conventional financing or FHA financing. We do have first-time home buyers, South Carolina state housing programs that are into place to help people with down payments, et cetera. But some folks are sort of, in some cases, it is what it is, right? You fit this product perfectly, and there's really no other option that would make sense. In some cases where I think it's really important, whether they're working with us or working with another mortgage professional, is to understand what other options may be if they're sort of on that line of one product or another.
And product, you mean loan type? Loan type, mortgage type, yeah, right.
Yeah, whether it may be FHA or conventional. When you're at a certain point in qualifications, it may be a split decision. It could go either which way, or one may out benefit the other. And if you don't get that right guidance from whomever you're working with, you may just fall into a position that may not be as beneficial to you as it could have been.
Yeah, and taking the time to explore those options with them is very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about, everybody watching right now, our viewers watching right now, they keep hearing seller's market, seller's market, seller's market. But off camera, you and I were talking, and you brought up a really good point in perspective. While the headlines are that it's a seller's market, it could very well be a buyer's market, right? Do you want to talk a little on that?
Yeah, so it is an interesting perspective, right? We know the demand, right? It's national for the most part, and specifically here, we serve not just primary residents, but we serve second home buyers, investors, right? So we really serve the gamut of what a home buyer would be. But just thinking while we were chatting off camera, talking about a seller's market. No one can predict the future, right? We don't know what's going to, if this will sustain, whether it's through the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but we know where we are today.
That's right.
Right, and it's interesting, on the way down, I was having a conversation with a fellow looking to get pre-approved, and he was talking whether, relocating first, buying later, 6 months, 1 year down the road, or buying immediately. And the conversation sort of went in the direction that, yes, no one really knows, right? However, based on what's occurring today, the cost of that home could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 more 6 months from now, right? So when we talk about it kind of being a buyer's market as well, it's, if you're in the market and you're looking to purchase right now, getting pre-positioned, understanding your buying power, understanding your budget and where you're comfortable at, and at least being prepared. So if something comes up that you have interest in, you're taking advantage of it today.
Yes.
Whether that was a good move 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the road, or not, no one knows that, but we know where we are today, and that could potentially save you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year from now. So looking at it from that perspective, we could call it a buyer's market.
Could call it a buyer's market.
With the demand the way that it is, getting in now could save you a lot of money later.
And make you a lot of money and grow that investment.
Exactly.
You talked about pre-approvals. I'd like to talk to you more about that. Stick with us, everybody. We'll be right back after the break.
Since 2013, Rivertown Property Inspections has been conducting home inspections in South and now North Carolina.
At RPI, our clients receive same-day and easy-to-read reports We also stand behind every home inspection with our 200% satisfaction guarantee and our 90-day guarantee. So give us a call at 843-360-4354 or check us out online at rivertowninspects.com to schedule your inspection.
We are your local and veteran-owned home inspection company.
All new episodes airing every month on WMBF.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We've got Ed Bocchino here talking about mortgages with us and the mortgage industry, but in particular about how it's affecting our real estate industry, both nationally and locally. Ed, before the break, we were talking to our viewers and amongst us about getting pre-qualified, pre-approved. You know, the fact is, while it is a buyer's market in a sense where they can grow their equity and get in now and save money, it is a seller's market because inventory is very low, right? As a real estate professional, we used to be able to put a buyer in our car and show them 6, 7, 8, 9 different houses in the same community just a couple of years ago. Right now that doesn't exist, right? We're lucky if we can show them one house in that community, and oftentimes it hits and you need to be able to execute quickly. Why do you suggest and encourage people to get pre-approved? And how long before the process of when they think they're going to buy should they reach out to a mortgage professional?
Yeah, great question. As early as possible. I mean, quite frankly, credit is good for 120 days from the moment that we run credit, right? So I would say if you feel that you're in the market to purchase within the next 60 to 90 days, if you haven't been pre-approved, get pre-approved. Okay. And sometimes the word pre-approved can sound aggressive.
It does.
To some folks,
to some,
right?
Yeah.
I like to use the terminology pre-positioned, right? Because what you're really doing is, it's not so much, can you qualify? More so, well, it's kind of half and half. Can you qualify, but are you comfortable, right? So right. It's good for us to know that we have a qualified individual buyer,
sure.
Looking. But more importantly, from the buyer's perspective is that I understand the numbers, I understand the cost, I understand the guidelines, I know that I meet them. Buying a home is supposed to be fun.
Sure.
Right, and exciting.
A good experience.
A good experience, right? It's exciting. I love using the word exciting. Hey, we're gonna go buy a home, right? Yep. This is awesome, let's go buy a new home. Whether it's investment property, whether it's a second home, or a new primary home, getting all the heavy lifting out of the way in the beginning just allows that to occur naturally, yeah. Right? So I think as early as possible, Jason, just for the understanding and confidence.
Yes.
Right? And it's not just the confidence for the buyer, but then it's the confidence for the seller, right? Sure. In the seller's market where there may be multiple offers coming in.
Most of which are, in multiple situations.
Mm-hmm. It's the confidence for the seller. It's the confidence for the listing agent that's communicating with the seller. You know, we just had a situation where we were up against a cash buyer,
yeah.
2 weeks ago, and we won that bid. I get the phone call from the listing agent, and we had the conversation, and I gave them some general information that they needed to know that I feel very comfortable,
yeah.
With the buyer. And there must have been some other aspects of the offer that obviously they like to reach out to me. And at the end of the day, beating out a cash buyer is not easy, but when you do,
yeah.
It's all because of the fact that the client wins, and we were pre-positioned.
Well, good for you. And there's two things I like to point out with what you just said. Number one, it's not always about price. It's very much about terms. In a market that we are in, the property owner knows and understands they're going to get a good price. A lot of the times it can be, when can we move out? When can we move in? What are your terms? How much are you putting down? But when you're describing to us and our viewers, you were talking about we just beat out a cash buyer. We just did this. You really take pride in working for your client. Especially when you're referencing you're a team with them, you're partnering with them to get pre-positioned. It's like anything, it's an experience you're about to go through, and if you just walk into it, you may not experience the results you wanted, but if you plan properly, schedule everything out, understand where you are, then you're better educated, better prepared, and ultimately, hopefully, get the results that you want.
Yeah, and I just had a scenario this morning, or last night, should I say, that rolled into this morning where someone saw a home that they want to purchase, They've been working with the realtor for some time.
Sure.
However, now the home came up, right? That they like. That they want. I get the call last night. I chat with them. They're self-employed, right? So, and all offers need to be in by 11:30 this morning.
Sure.
Right. So here's where getting pre-positioned earlier helps, because now you found a home that you really like, and none of the due diligence for any of the qualifications has been done. Right. So again, that's, learn from that event. If you're out there looking to purchase a home, and just work on it earlier. And to talk about the we and the team, there's over 4,000 agents here in the community, right? There's got to be over 100 different mortgage lenders and brokers.
Sure.
But it's a small community, and we all work together, and we all know each other. So whether it's the buyer agent, listing agent, a mortgage person involved, we're all working towards the same outcome.
Yep.
Right. So I speak often with listing agents, all the time with buyer agents.
Right.
And that team is what it is, right?
Yes.
Everyone's here working for the same outcome at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think when you take that approach, I don't think everybody takes that approach, but the ones that do, the clients win, the consumer wins, the town wins. Ultimately what I do for a living, what you do for a living, what many do for a living in the real estate development and industry in some sort of aspect is we're investing in the community, we're growing the community, and ultimately we're trying to make it healthier and better. And truly, we live here too.
Right.
We want the sales prices to be competitive, not outrageous. We want demand to be healthy and not too crazy.
Right.
We live here too, and we go through this. We have our families here, and so you've put a good team around you, and a lot of real estate professionals enjoy working with you. I know a lot of your purchasers do, and growing organically is one of the best feelings. I know you've done a good job with that.
Experience low country living redefined at Living Dunes. This prime location is just minutes away from everything, including the Grand Dunes Ocean Club, where you will enjoy exclusive beach access. It's all just a golf cart ride away. New construction homes starting in the 400s make Living Dunes a smart choice for those who seek more from their neighborhood. Your ideal life starts here. Visit livingdunes.net for more information or stop in to tour homes for sale.
You knew I would bring it up, and everybody always wants to ask a real estate professional, but most importantly, a mortgage professional, what are interest rates going to do? And right now, they've obviously stayed historically low. It's helped grow the market. If and when that changes, that can change a market. Do you see them changing, going up or down, staying the same, and how do you think that's going to affect our market?
Yeah, so disclaimer, nobody knows what's going to happen with interest rates, but sort of what trend is happening right now, right? Well, it's interesting, obviously our government has a lot to do with driving policies and et cetera that will affect pricing and interest rates. I think it's important to point out, being in the business as long as I have, I've seen interest rates at 14%.
Sure, yeah.
Right, so when we're talking about, low rates, high rates, it's all relative in the big picture.
Understood.
Interest rates, and you can look up online what the national interest rate is, somewhere in the 3s, right, as of right now. We feel that there's probably going to be some sort of uptick, this year, no doubt.
Yep.
And a lot of it's being driven more so by policy than anything else. And just in a broad scope, there'll be tapering that's going on purchases of treasury yields and bonds through the government. That's going to slow that down and bring some pressure to interest rates to come up a little bit this year.
Yeah, I think we're going to. That's what we're seeing too, and it's kind of nice to hear, because whether they go up or down, you kind of just want to. It to be consistent through the industry so that we can prepare our clients for how to position themselves, whether they're a seller or a purchaser. Rates changing doesn't just affect the purchaser, it affects the property owner considering to sell or not. An increase in rates can adjust a purchaser's purchasing power.
Sure.
Right? It can adjust. So right now we've seen an increase of almost $100,000 in average sales price in the Horry County area over the past couple of years. And while it's very healthy, a lot of that can be contributed much to the clientele that's moving down here and their own purchase power, but also the ability for rates to be low and people borrowing low. So that rate increases, that purchaser may not feel as comfortable to borrow that much, and that could have an effect on sales prices, a little bit at least.
Yeah, and money is still inexpensive.
Very
right? So
inexpensive.
rates are super inexpensive. Even if interest rates were to increase by 0.5% or 1 full point, when you look back over history, it's super low and still at historic lows to some level. And I think perspective has a lot to do with it as well, right? And this again is very important about getting pre-positioned. I have folks that come in thinking that their buying power may be X, right? But then they call me and say, well, I'm kind of out of the market at that buying power. I may need to be at another different
number.
Different number. And when we look at the numbers, right, you're talking about maybe $92 per $20,000 borrowed, right? Wow. $92 per month per $20,000 borrowed. And in some areas, and depending on what they're looking to purchase, that can make a big difference of what location they're
different
in,
inventory.
what type of home, different inventory, et cetera.
Yes.
And so, understanding that out of the gate, I think is important part of getting pre-positioned, that they really truly know, where's my comfort level, what can I get to, and understanding that cost on the money puts some things into perspective and changes their direction at some point.
So Ed, something I wanted to talk to you about today, and I think the viewers would be really interested to find out, is talk to me a little bit about, I read somewhere that Movement Mortgage, the company that you're with, has kind of gone public with the concept, but I think they're actually putting it into place already, where they want to build schools, take some of the proceeds and funds that they receive from providing services to people who need mortgages, but build schools in certain areas. Did I read that right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, and one big reason why I'm with the company, right? I mean, we all work hard and do what we do to deliver, right? For our home buyers, for our business partners, et cetera. But to know that the culture of the company is to uplift communities throughout, the United States, it's amazing, right? We're a national company.
Yeah.
So a good portion of our proceeds are actually going toward, I think our goal over the next 3 years is to build over 100 tuition-free schools in underserviced communities where we're paying the teachers, we're paying absolutely everything, and there's zero tuition for the students and the families to go to those schools. And it's amazing.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, that's not only... That takes building the community to a completely different level, because that doesn't only transform a community, that transforms the world, because you're really impacting children who then are now put in positions where they can learn, get educated, some of which may not have had the opportunity to have that type of education, and then they go into the workplace of the world, remember that opportunity, and
pay it forward.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing that they do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Ed, you do it all. You help people with investments, second homes, first-time home buyers, and people just either downsizing or upsizing in their homes here locally. I know you do a great job. Thank you so much for being with us here on Getting With Real Estate. It's been a pleasure to speak with you and have you with our viewers today. The one thing I do know is we live in a great place that people want to be. They will continue to seek this area out. We're very blessed to be able to live in an area and service people who want to sell or purchase their homes here. So thank you again for being with us and our viewers. We'll be right back right after this.
From day one, their customer service has just set them apart. I felt like family from the moment I stepped in the door.
At Coastal Fasteners and Supply, our customers are more than just a transaction.
No order too small, no order too large. If there's ever an item they don't have in stock, usually they can have it to me within the week.
They are why we have been here for over 45 years.
Quality, just great people.
We are Coastal Fasteners and Supply.
And with free job site delivery, we've got you covered.
All new episodes airing every month on WMBF.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Getting Real with Real Estate. Jennifer, great episode again. Lots of information.
Such a good episode. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't in the interview with you, but I was sitting behind the scenes listening to it because I definitely do not want to miss Ed's interview. And he is a fantastic, #1 human being, but great lender.
You know, something that I saw you shaking your head when we were talking with him, and something that really was stood out to me too, was the fact that he kept saying we when talking about his clients and his buyers. It was we got the bid. We were awarded the house because we. And you just don't hear that a lot with mortgage professionals. Usually it's a file and we go.
That's right, yes. Most of the time it's not a team customer service thing. It's we're in this together with Ed's team. And he's always stood out for that reason.
Yeah, you know, and the fact that we were talking about where interest rates were going, and you know, nobody ever likes to make representation on what they're thinking they're doing, but they are increasing, and to hear it also from an expert, that's something that people need to take into consideration moving into 2022.
Right.
Obviously, it's been an announcement everywhere that the rates are going to be increasing, and I think that is also going to be fueling our market moving forward into the second and third quarter this year. At least second and third quarter.
It will, and you know, Jason, it has to.
Yeah.
If you think about it, in the last 15, 20 years, our rates have fluctuated. They always do. But they were, before the market crashed in 7 and 8, they were up 7, 8, 9%.
That's right.
Dropped down to 5%. We thought that was an all-time low. Everyone went out and refinanced.
Right.
And now we've been in the 3s for about 7 years. And that's crazy. So it can't stay in the 3s forever. That's not profitable for the banks that are lending.
Right.
And so it has to go up. It has to regulate.
Yes.
So he had a ton of good information that helps us with that.
Yeah, you know, we love bringing you the latest information here along the Grand Strand as it pertains to our market, bringing you top professionals. That was the promise that we made to you, and we're making good on that promise.
Yes.
We've got another great episode coming up next month, so we've got new episodes airing every month.
Yes.
Wednesdays at 12:30 on WMBF. Make sure you tune in and stick with us.
You're not going to want to miss it.